Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of A Hymn for Him Tonight. I welcome you. I'm your host, King Worship, and tonight we're going straight into our presentations. We have for you 3 hymns, and these will be presented by 2 special persons to me. Firstly, by my beloved pastor, Pastor Lennox Haynes in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. He's my spiritual father, his wife, they're my spiritual parents, and I'm so glad that he is on tonight's episode, and he will be presenting 2 hymns on the harmonica. I don't know anybody else in St. Vincent and the Grenadines apart from Todd, who plays the harmonica. I stand corrected. So let me know in the comments if there's anybody else who knows anybody in St. Vincent and the Grenadines who plays the harmonica. But my pastor, my musical pastor, plays the harmonica, and he's going to present to you 2 hymns tonight: Amazing Grace and Rock of Ages. Amazing Grace. This hymn was written in 1772 by an English poet named John Newton, and this hymn is well known in the civil rights movement. John Newton was known to have had a bad reputation. He lived a profane and wicked life. He was a slave trader, he was a sailor, and he made it his business to lead people from the faith. He was your modern day Saul, right? The story behind this hymn says that John Newton was caught up in a raging storm on sea. Remember, he was a sailor. He was on sea on a slave ship, and he was caught in a raging storm for days, past 11 days. To him and everyone on board, it seems as though this storm was not going to stop. But on March 21st, 1748, a day that was etched in his memory forever, was that day that the Lord delivered him from that storm and delivered that ship from sinking into deep waters. And it was recorded, only God's amazing grace saved me. That is what he recorded after he was delivered from that raging storm. He was then converted from that experience to Christianity and became an Anglican priest. And today, this hymn was written from that experience, and we can all relate to God's amazing grace. Rock of Ages. Rock of Ages was written by Reverend Augustus Toplady in 1763 in England, and it was based on Psalms 94 verse 22. The music was written by Thomas Hastings. Augustus Toplady was born in 1740 and he passed in 1778, which means he only lived a life of 38 years. He passed due to tuberculosis. This hymn was written after Toplady experienced a fierce storm. You see, these 2 hymns tonight that my pastor is going to play on the harmonica all had that experience of a raging storm. Toplady was caught up in a storm in his traveling in England, and he had to seek refuge. And the only available shelter that he saw was a cliff of a rock. And this cliff protected him until the storm ended. And while he was sheltering that storm under that rock, he was so reminded of who God is to us, that rock, the rock of our salvation, who we can hide in. And he wrote that hymn there at that very spot. He wrote a couple hymns in his lifetime, but Rock of Ages remains his most famous and most recognized hymn. Welcome, my pastor, Pastor Lennox Haynes from St. Vincent and the Grenadines, to present to you Amazing Grace and Rock of Ages on the harmonica.
Good day. I want to congratulate you on your program, A Hymn for Him. These are some of the great songs of the faith that touch the lives of many for centuries. Nowadays, we don't hear much of these hymns that have brought salvation to the hearts of many.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace my fears relieve. How precious did that grace appear, the hour I first believed. Rock of Ages, cleft for me, let me hide myself in thee. Let the water and the blood from thy wounded side which flowed be of sin double pure. Save from wrath and make me pure. Could my tears forever flow? Could my zeal no longer know? These for sin could not atone. Thou must save, and thou alone. In my hand no price I bring, simply to thy cross I cling. Thank you so much, Pastor Haynes, for presenting those hymns and your word of encouragement. I am so grateful. Our third and final hymn tonight will be presented by a friend, my family member, my in-law, my mother's sister-in-law, Charlene Cupid. And she will be presenting to you tonight, Old Rugged Cross. And it's my mother's favorite hymn. Old Rugged Cross was written by George Bernard in 1912, and the melody was also written by him. He was an evangelist and a song leader who wrote this hymn over several months. He took several months to complete this hymn. George Bernard was born in 1873 in Ohio, USA. He was converted at the age of 22 years and became an evangelistic Methodist minister. He would usually hold or host revival in the Midwest of USA. For over 30 years he did this. This hymn that he wrote, Old Rugged Cross, is known as America's most popular hymn. The story behind this hymn stemmed from his evangelistic passion as a minister. George recognized that persons were disregarding the gospel because of his experience in evangelism. A lot of persons were rejecting the gospel. They did not respect the gospel, and it troubled him. And on one day, he had a vision, and he saw Christ and the cross, and they were inseparable, and that spoke loudly to him. And from that vision, the melody of this hymn came. And then over several months, the stanzas were written to this hymn. One day, while a pastor and his wife hosted him for a revival service that he was having, he sang the entire hymn, and they were all moved to tears by the words that was written in this hymn. The hymn spread throughout the region, and its popularity grew and grew until now it is noted as the world's best loved hymn. Welcome Charlene Cupid as she presents to you Old Rugged Cross.
On a hill far away stood an old rugged cross, the emblem of suffering and shame. And I love the old cross where the dearest and best for the word of lost sinners were slain. So I'll cherish the old rugged cross till my trophies at last I lay down. I will cling to the old rugged cross and exchange it someday for a crown. To the old rugged cross I will ever be true, its shame and reproach gladly bear. Then he'll call me someday to my home far away, where his glory forever I'll share. And I'll cherish the old rugged cross till my trophies at last I lay down. And I will cling to the old rugged cross and exchange it someday for a crown. And I will cling to the old rugged cross and exchange it someday for a crown.
Thank you, Charlene, for presenting that hymn and for being a part of A Hymn for Him tonight. Please remember to like, share, and leave a comment as we continue in this series to inform you and to get you familiarized with the hymns of old. Next week, A Hymn for Him goes live. Yes, So next week episode, we are going to go live. So please tune in at 6 p.m. Thank you for joining again tonight on this episode, this informative episode, yes, of A Hymn for Him. I am your host, King Worship. Always remember to worship the King in spirit and in truth. Have a great one.